Warlocks! They have tons of options. The class features and spells are fun. Writing up a backstory on how you signed a pact with some patron and then handing it to the DM to play with is super duper fun for both parties. It makes for really fun storytelling. Literally everyone loves Warlocks. Wizards of the Coast did a good job with this class. However, mechanically, there are some issues with it. And we're gonna talk about them. Welcome to Pack Tactics. Satan så bra. I know a lot of people will think the answer is lack of short rests, but I'll get into that. For those that don't know, Warlocks are in an interesting position. From beginning to end, they have access to 1st to 9th level spell slots, making them full casters. However, they nearly never have access to more than one level. Once Warlocks have access to 2nd level spell slots, they lose access to 1st level spell slots. And this goes all the way until they have access to 5th level slots. After this, they get access to Mystic Arcanum, which, like the other full casters, gives them access to 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th level spell slots. However, unlike other full casters, for example wizards, Warlocks only get to choose one spell from each of these levels at a time, which they can swap on an ASI level if they have the Eldritch Versatility optional feature in Tashes. But that's not all. In exchange, Warlocks get to regain all their spell slots, which I'll call pact slots from now on to save some confusion, after a short rest. This, however, leads to some issues at certain tables, where short rests are hard to come by one way or another. Maybe your table doesn't like that many short rests. I know tables like that. Or combat doesn't allow for or even require short rests. Maybe your table only has 1 encounter days. At those tables, Warlocks suffer because, of course, less short rests means less pact slots. Something like a wizard does not have this issue. Their maximum capacity does not change on a single day. So, Kobold, did the viewers guess correctly? Is the answer lack of short rests? No, I don't actually think so. But of course, don't get me wrong. Lack of short rests really sucks. It makes the experience of playing Warlocks a lot worse. Does that make Warlocks bad? No, not to me. Allow me to explain. At tables where short rests are required to get through a day, the short rests will happen. That or your party dies. If short rests aren't required, they aren't necessary. It's just really simple logic. In the latter, your Warlock may become a bit more boring though, as you need to spread the usage of your pack slots a lot more. So I would recommend you measure your expectations. You should consider or ask how short rests occur at your table. And based on the answers there, you then decide whether you would actually enjoy Warlock there. If you decide against it, maybe Warlock will be fun at another time. By the way, boom! Today I want to talk about World Anvil, the ultimate tool for organizing your campaigns and world building. But Kobold, you can barely organize your own horde. How are you supposed to organize an entire world? Well, Gator, that's why I need World Anvil with its intuitive interface and customizable templates. I can keep track of all my NPCs, quests, and locations. I can even keep track of my lair. Kobold, remember when you got lost in that dungeon for 3 days straight? That was that one time, and it was horrifying, but with these interactive maps and detailed descriptions, I'll make sure it'll never happen again. And if I really want to, I can share my world with other people across the world. Will you share it with us? Lol, no, but you can use the code PACKTACTICS at the checkout to get 40% off any yearly subscription. Wow! Thanks for at least telling us about World Anvil, Kobold! No problem, my friend. I highly recommend it. You can even make a world where you're the smartest and most dangerous creature in the world. You mean like a giant alligator? Yes, like a big alligator. Back to the video. But Kobold, what do you think is wrong with Warlocks? Well, you already kind of know it. This is an optimization channel, so a lack of power is an issue. But I don't think Warlocks are bad. With their class features, including spellcasting, they are a force to be reckoned with. But they can't compete with the top of the top. Why? Short rests. Or to be precise, their necessity for short rests to get access to their maximum capacity of pact slots. But Kobold! That's literally what I just said! Almost, Gator. I actually think the issue lies in another angle. At a lot of tables, the spreading of these resources across the day is not actually an issue. But when your DM is balancing for high optimization builds, things can get rough. Let me explain. As Warlocks are basically balanced around only having pack slots of the same spell level, but getting them back on a short rest, they lack two powerful options that other full casters have. 1. Warlocks can't use low-level defense spells like Shield, Absorb Elements, or Silvery Barbs properly. It just doesn't work well for them, as a casting of Shield cuts into a casting of, let's say, Hypnotic Pattern. A sorcerer doesn't have to think about this trade-off until they've used 7 spell slots below 3rd. Second, Warlocks can't use less packed slots in one fight to use the slots they spared in another fight, or vice versa, or at least not to the extent another full caster can. If a fight is really difficult, a bard can decide to cast more spells than they would on average, and to preserve more spell slots in an easier subsequent fight. Warlocks need to make do with the limited amount of pack slots every fight. That is the maximum they always have for any combat, and it doesn't ever go above 4. And by the way, you usually have 2 pack slots for a very, very long time. On the other hand, Warlocks have an incredible upper bound to the amount of spells they can fling across a day. Having a Warlock can be an incredible boon to the party, as they can be the one casting strong spells instead of their allies, so that the others can preserve their resources. They just have to survive. So how do we fix these issues? Can we even fix them? Kobold, this is a guide. You have to. Yeah, I don't think I can fix both of these issues. What I can do is explain how to make number 1 less of an issue. Their defenses. Some recommend a dip into Sorcerer or such to get to cast defensive spells, but that will only be around a handful of castings. It's not enough. So I have another suggestion. It's in part thanks to Tashes. No, it's not the subclasses, but I'll link those anyways. It's actually Eldritch Mind. Any Warlock subclass can pick this up. It's an Eldritch Invocation. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws that you make to maintain your concentration on a spell. This might remind you of something else, like Warcaster feat, of course. Every caster in high optimization tiers picks up concentration protections, as it makes spells more efficient per slot used. This affects Warlocks in one specific way. If you pick up Eldritch Mind, they are basically ahead 1 feat over full casters. This allows them to do something special. It allows them to pick a race option which doesn't give them a feat, without immediately being a lot worse off than others. Now, we're going to make a pro gamer move. We're going to stack AC up to the wazoo to try to make up for not getting to cast spells like Shield. We will be combining 2 things, species and dip. First, let's talk about what species we will pick. It's Warforged. Warforged are awesome. We all know that. They're basically robots, but even cooler. There's a lot of fun flavor to them. You can even be like a robot kobold. But we are picking them for their integrated protection for +1 AC. This +1 bonus is going to be really useful together with the next part, namely a dip into Forge Cleric. Forge Cleric get proficiency in heavy armor, and a feature called Blessing of the Forge. The latter allows them to instantaneously enchant armor to have a +1 bonus to AC, among other things. With plate armor, shield, and the +1 bonuses, you are at 22 AC. That's quite a lot. Other sturdy casters will usually be at 19 AC with medium armor and shield, and 24 AC when they use the shield spell. But you're at 22 without using any resources. That's really, really good. The dip comes in well at level 1, as by doing that you start off with chainmail and a shield for 20 AC, with the ability to spam bless until you get other options. But there is some cost here you should be aware of. If you don't want to rely on a mount, but remain agile, you need at least 15 strength. And in order to dip in and out of cleric, you need at least 13 wisdom. This makes a point buy spread look something like this, in which you can see your dexterity takes quite a hit. Of course, this kind of sucks as you'll have a lower initiative bonus, but a loss of around 3 to the bonus will not be the end of the world. In a high optimization context, just one person winning initiative can fulfill the role of shutting down the encounter, and your allies will likely have things like Gift of Alacrity, Alert, Guidance, Lucky, and so on. In a different context, the lower initiative bonus will likely not be deadly. And besides, you have 22 AC. An alternative which doesn't require you to spread your point buy so thin is to dip into fighter. You get your proficiency in heavy armor and you get your +1 AC through the defense fighting style. While this is worse at lower levels, if you start at later levels where you're not really casting Bless or Healing Word as a multi-class warlock, it might actually be better. The reason why is that fighters get proficiency in constitution saving throws right from level 1. The variant allows your stat spread to look something like this or that. You can play around with these scores if you want, it's your character. Maybe you think 21 AC is enough, at which point you could pick up Variant Human or Custom Lineage instead for an additional feat. You could pick up something like Inspiring Leader. In either case, a final way to increase your sturdiness, which I would recommend you pursue at some point in your Warlock's career, is to pick up Tomb of Levestus. It's an Eldritch invocation that ensures that in the worst case, you won't get one shot. This invocation says, as a reaction when you take damage, you can entomb yourself in ice, which melts away at the end of your next turn. You gain 10 temporary hit points per warlock level, which takes as much triggering damage as possible. Immediately after you take the damage, you gain the vulnerability to fire damage. Your speed is reduced to 0 and you are incapacitated. These effects, including any temporary hit points, all end when the ice melts. Once you use this invocation, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. That's it! The unofficial first part of my guide to Warlocks. Next part, I think I'll be talking about pacts or Eldritch invocations, or even both. We'll see. I have no idea when that will come out. Anyways, end of video. Kobold! Look what I got from the store! We should review it! Kader! Are you insane? They're gonna send the Pinkertons after us! And you probably stole it! Pinkertons? You mean the bad guys from Red Dead Redemption? Kobold, video games aren't real! Pinkertons! Kobold, someone's at the door! Oh my god! Remember to check out World Anvil! Thank you for watching. Bye-bye!